misinformation and fake news kills trust, and sometimes it kills people too. It weakens democracy, distorts debates, and divides societies. Our intent is very clear. It is to put falsehoods on trial. We want to actually name, shame, pull up people who deliberately mislead the public. And our intention is not to pick on those who question or criticize the government. Our intent empowers citizens to live in an information environment built on fact, responsibility, and trust. And we want to ensure that the truth travels faster than lies. And more importantly, trust triumphs over fear.
We begin with Shri Priyank Kharge opening up with his comments, and he's kindly agreed to do a short Q&A to follow. So may I start by welcoming you, sir, to take the stage.
Thank you, Sudhir. Namaskar. Good evening to all my friends, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here at Ikigai Laws and Analysis, Truth, Trust and Technology dialogue, if I may say so. I think I thought I'll make a presentation actually, Sudhir. Then my team told me that, are you out of your mind? They're already an informed crowd. So I thought maybe I should not make a fool of myself. So they've helped me put down what I intend to say. But I think you have started a very important dialogue here today. And I think this should be debated not just in these within these four walls, but it should be debated in public at large so that people understand what dangers misinformation, disinformation, misinformation, malinformation, fake news pose for the society, democracy, economies, and communities at large. I think misinformation and fake news have today emerged as one of the gravest threats to democracy, public safety, and more importantly, social harmony, not just in India, but across the world. The World Economic Forum's Global Risks Report of 2024 has in fact ranked misinformation and disinformation as the top short-term global threat above all other threats. Former Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, said that fake news can misguide millions of people at once, and this will be in direct contradiction with the fundamentals of democracy, which form the bedrock of our existence. Circulation of fake news and disinformation has the power to impair democratic discourse. Former Chief Election Commissioner, Mr. Rajiv Kumar, says social media space is polluted. If we have environmental pollution outside, equally serious social media pollution exists inside. Election Commission of India itself has identified the 4 M's, that is muscle, money, misinformation, and model code violation as the biggest challenges to free and fair elections. And more importantly, the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, too agrees, surprisingly, and says that in a diverse society like ours, deepfakes can cause a big crisis. By the time the truth comes out, it becomes too late. And more recently, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Anil Chavan, said that 15% of Army's time during Operation Sindoor went into countering fake narratives. And this is the reality of our digital era, where lies can reach millions of people before even truth finds a voice. The reason I am quoting these people, the top people in our ecosystem or in the hierarchy of our country and the democratic country of ours, is that we need to take it very seriously. If I say it, it becomes controversy. Like you said, I've spoken about it a lot, and I get a lot of backlash when I speak. I don't know why. But that's why I'm putting up a case in front of you where the CJI has spoken, where the CEC has spoken, where the CDS has spoken, and more importantly, the Prime Minister has spoken. So I hope that this itself is a use case. And why it is dangerous to India in particular. We are a nation of 1.3 billion people. Just look at our digital landscape. How is this information traversing across geographies, across states, across communities, social media? The digital landscape is quite huge. WhatsApp has over 500 million users in India. YouTube, close to 500 million users. Instagram, 481 million users. Snapchat, 213 million. ShareChat, 180 million. LinkedIn, 170 million. Mauj, 160 million. Facebook Messenger, 108 million. Telegram, 100 million. And these are just the top 10 social media, communicable, and messenger services that are available. When you come down, there are more. And the daily average time spent by an Indian on social media is close to around 2.5 hours every single day. And in India, the scale of the problem is alarming. According to METI's report, the Ministry of Electronics, Information Technology, Government of India in 2023, they say that WhatsApp accounted for 64% of misinformation spread. Facebook accounted 18% and Twitter for 12%, and this was 2 years back. 46% of misinformation in India is political, and in Karnataka, 46% of misinformation is about me. I don't have actual stats to back that, but I'm assuming so. 33% concerns general issues, 17% is religious in nature. And what is even more troubling is 88% of Indians admit to having shared misinformation or online news without verifying it. And more than half of them continue to do it frequently. And these are not the mere statistics, but they reflect on the erosion of our collective information ecosystem here. Misinformation has real world consequences. People think that they can say anything online and it does not affect them offline. It has destroyed economies, it has destroyed communities, and it has taken lives. For example, in Delhi riots 2020, fake reports about attacks on religious sites circulated on social media led to the loss of over 50 lives. In the Bhima Koregaon case in 2018, we all know what happened in Maharashtra. And more importantly, here in Karnataka in 2017, the Paresh Mehta case where falsehoods and doctored images triggered communal riots, communal unrest, the scars of which are still felt in the society in Karavali region and also in the political landscape of Karnataka. More recently, during the Pahalgam terror attack of 2025, AI-generated images, deepfake videos flooded social media within hours. During Operation Sindoor, fake videos, even fake video game clips were broadcast as real war footage by national media. Just imagine showcasing Counter-Strike as a war between India and Pakistan. This is just not misinformation. I think it's a weaponized deception that endangers public peace, national security, and institutional credibility. And we saw what happened during the COVID-19. 1 in every 4 Indian believed in false narratives that were floated about vaccines, about possible remedies, and that cost us lives. It hurt public health efforts that the governments were trying to do. And recently, even the Chief Justice of India, Shri B.R. Gavai, observed that judicial remarks are frequently distorted on social media, fueling hostility towards the judiciary. After an attempted attack on him, the Solicitor General confirmed that misinformation online was a key trigger. So when fake news begins to endanger our constitutional institutions, we cannot remain silent spectators. To act wisely, government must clearly define the course. And that's exactly what we are trying to do here. So when Sudhir said that we are in a draft stage and it's being discussed, everybody is very curious what Karnataka government is trying to do about a misinformation bill. But trust me, there's the problem that we wanted to sort out became more when so much misinformation about the misinformation bill went out. It was amazing. The problem that we wanted to solve just exploded because of misinformation. So what we tried to do, I'll just explain it quickly to you in a couple of minutes. So we tried this during the parliament elections earlier. We ensured that we got in the best think tanks, we got in the best technology companies, we got in researchers, and the government wanted to understand what is fake news, what is misinformation. That's when we realized that it is wider and deeper than we understand. Information can be classified into various buckets. First is misinformation. Misinformation means incorrect information shared carelessly or incorrectly, harmless, innocently. Example, you must be getting every Republic Day and every August 15th, you'll be getting that Janagana Mana, our national anthem, is considered the best national anthem by UNESCO. By UNESCO. Harmless. It's just a forward. I got it. I sent it to somebody. Harmless. Disinformation is the second bucket, is what we're trying to figure out is disinformation. I mean, false information created and shared deliberately to mislead. I'll give you local examples, not global examples, things that the government has experienced. So in disinformation, you know the Shakti scheme that the government has floated, the free bus scheme for women. So there was this particular group or a particular organization which started sharing video saying that Shakti has created chaos and women are fighting with each other, trying to get on the bus. And one woman leg was cut off when she was trying to get in to the bus through the window. And there was a video of that lady with her leg bleeding badly, blood all over. It was like her leg was in a pool of blood. She was screaming and she was scolding the government. But very cleverly, it was edited. And it was shared massively, saying it was because of the Shakti scheme. But actually, when we did some background check, we got to know that that incident happened in Andhra Pradesh. And it had nothing to do with the government of Karnataka. That lady was not even a Kannadiga. This incident at all did not even happen. But by the time it had already spread like wildfire, because our government had just come in, the scheme had just been floated. There was indeed a lot of curiosity among women that, yes, will I be able to travel free on the bus? And it just so happened that this disinformation started floating around, and it did create a lot of chaos. The third bucket is malinformation. True information used maliciously or out of context. So it is used maliciously and out of context to cause harm intentionally. So for example, there was an individual who put up on his social media the police mercilessly beating a young man with his belt in Hubli. So he's taken the video, he's uploaded the video, and he said, look, this is the way the police atrocities happen. And he's written a long note on that. And the video is very clear where actually one person in khaki is beating one more person mercilessly. At least it looks like that in the video, but he shot it from behind. Then we found out that actually it was a film shooting. But already that person did it deliberately. He had some probably axe to grind with the local people over there, the local police station, or I don't know what it is. But he uploaded saying this is police brutality. in Karnataka. And by the time we were able to bring out the truth, bring out the clarification, it was too late. There were protests, there was a lot of thing about the government, ill will about the Department of Home, and I think it is very, very dangerous when people's faith in the Department of Home is just eroded. And this was classified as malinformation. And each of these things, and of course fake news, everybody is aware, I will not go into that too much. But misinformation, disinformation, malinformation can be weaponized, can be used maliciously, and it creates animosity within the society. It's not just about defaming a government, or defaming a person, or defaming communities. It actually seeds of hatred, which leads to law and order problem, which leads to communal disharmony, which leads to the collapse of us as a society. And each is dangerous, but disinformation is extremely dangerous because it is intentional and is the most corrosive of all. And this threat is magnified by technology. And especially now, as most of you are aware here, that with cheap and accessible tools, and especially now with the advent of accessible and affordable AI tools, anyone can now create deepfake videos, cloned voices, and fabricated documents that appear entirely authentic. Now, a single click can spark chaos, and hence we want to bring in laws to rein in misinformation and regulate the platforms that amplify these, thereby who are violating their own public policies. See, we are not trying to just bring in some rule, like every platform, whether it is Meta, whether it's any other public platform, they have their own public policies. And by allowing such information to be amplified on their platforms, they're also indirectly, I'm not saying directly, you cannot monitor everything, they're also indirectly responsible, and it violates their own public policy. So all we are trying to do is that we want to get all these platforms and the laws of the land under one ambit, so that we can be able to, I wouldn't say curb, but at least regulate information that is harmful. And more importantly, I get the media thought that we are trying to curtail freedom of speech. I had a 3.5 hour, the longest press brief in my life with them. 3.5 hours, I answered all their questions. I offered them a seat within the committee as well, so that they can help me flag what it is. And more importantly, the draft bill that we are discussing with the Department of Law and Department of Home excludes satire, parody, opinion, and art. And we are not criminalizing humor, dissent, or creativity. We are only criminalizing the spread of harmful falsehoods presented as a fact. And our intention is pretty clear. We intend to protect citizens. We intend to protect constitutional institutions. We intend to protect democracy, social order from deliberate falsehoods that cause harm. And the government has already piloted the Information Disorder Tracking Unit during the recent Parliament elections. So it is something that we are not just bringing in as a knee-jerk reaction. We piloted this for over 90 days. We had the use of technology. We used startups. We used technology pretty efficiently. We used research scholars to debunk these fake narratives that were floating. And more importantly, we traced the origins of the misinformation. And that worked well. You will be quite surprised that we combed through over 4 lakh or 400,000 materials during the previous parliament elections, which could have potentially been quite disruptive when it comes to giving out the right information. So out of those 400,000 that we combed through, maybe around 500, and if my memory serves me right, it's around close to around 637 or 737 of them were very serious in nature, out of which we filed 30 criminal cases and 18 cases that are actually going on right now as well. So there is a lot of information that is available online. There's a lot of information that flows in. We need to ensure that we bucket it in the right way, and we ensure that if it is, if that information is actually creating law and order issues or creating animosity, we put it under that BNS the rule that comes in, and then we take legal action. Nothing is going to be done in an arbitrarily manner. Everything is going to be done as per the law of the land. And I think the key to all this will be verification of the information by credible institutions, professional bodies, and technology, more importantly. And our approach is based on accountability and not censorship. And the focus will remain on tracing misinformation to its source. And we want to align with the global best practices and the best policies, but with safeguards that preserve India's constitutional commitment to free speech. Lastly, misinformation and fake news kills trust, and sometimes it kills people too. It weakens democracy, distorts debates, and divides societies. Our intent is very clear. It is to put falsehoods on trial. Our intent is very clear. Like I said, we want to put the falsehoods on trial, not opinions. A lot of people have a lot of questions about what is coming up. And we want to actually name, shame, pull up people who deliberately mislead the public. And our intention is not to pick on those who question or criticize the government. Our intent empowers citizens to live in an information environment built on fact, responsibility, and trust. And we want to ensure that the truth travels faster than lies. And more importantly, trust triumphs over fear. So the Misinformation Bill that all of you are looking forward to in any which way, whether you want to welcome it or whether you want to batter it, will be up and running probably by next month. I'm hopeful that during the next Belgavi session, I will be able to pilot that bill. And the bill has been not drafted in silos. We have taken the best of the legal experts' opinion. We have taken the Department of Home's opinion. And more importantly, we want to ensure things are done legally. Things are done within the ambit of law. Things are done within the ambit of the Constitution of India. And more importantly, it's very, very important. I personally feel it's very, very important that this bill or regulations come into force to ensure that we all build a society where we can concentrate on prosperity, where we can concentrate on building economies, where we can concentrate on creating more employment. We create a society where there is scientific temperament. That's where the progress is. So the government of Karnataka's intention is very clear, and the intent is to ensure that we have the best possible environment for truth. We have the best possible environment to leverage technology to debunk misinformation and fake news. So thank you all for your attention, and thank you for your invitation to be here. And looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
I'd like to open the room for your Q&A. We have very short time, so I think we have time for about 4 to 5 questions. I'd request the individuals to please introduce themselves and please to keep their remarks very short and brief.
Good evening. My name is Manvi. I'm an advocate and I'm speaking on behalf of a campaign called Campaign Against Hate Speech Beta. We had actually written to you when those 2 bills were leaked, hoping for a consultation, much like many other people who you've clarified saying that it was in fact misinformation. My question to you is in 2 parts. Firstly, that I understand, though nobody here is contesting the fact that the problem and challenges of fake news and hate speech is real, right? We're with you on that part. And the harm of it is very real. The question is twofold. Firstly, how will regulation further help address these two challenges, which are rather systematic? Because what you spoke in the end towards about what the achievements of the IDTU, which is the tracking unit, was there only 18 criminal cases continued till date, right? And within the BNS, there are provisions that are already there which take action against speech. There are Supreme Court judgments like the Pravasi Bhalai judgment which define hate speech, comments by different judges on fake news. There is already enough regulation and enough framework and jurisprudence for regulation. So what is the need right now in this particular context, and what has been the steps taken to already implement the regulatory framework which exists, firstly? Secondly, while you may have done interdepartmental consultations, we all welcome that, I'm sure. This is an ask for what is the attempt that's going to be made by the government to do public consultations, because at the end of it, it's the citizens' rights.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, with respect to your first question on that there are already existing laws and existing regulations and that needs to be implemented, that's something that the government of Karnataka is doing. If you recently saw, there was a hate speech that was given in the Karavali area, and the gentleman who gave that hate speech was never called to a police station in his life, and he used to get away with it every time. And last week was the first time I think he entered police station, just like any other ordinary criminal. And yes, there is the problem is that we have let it go for quite some time. So overnight we cannot ensure that these things are implemented in its letter and spirit or to its fullest strength. We need to ensure that there needs to be more awareness on what the Supreme Court speaks about. In fact, recently during the commissioners and the SPs meeting, the Honorable CM was very clear about hate speech, and we have given them handbooks on what to do and what not to do about when it comes to enforcing on hate speech. Number one, it is going to take time. But what has happened is that in the last 1.5 years or 2 years, if 10 people were speaking like that, now 3-4 people are speaking. It is reduced. But the idea is to ensure it does not happen at all. And your second question about public consultation, we also consulted it was just not an interdepartmental consultation. We did have some stakeholder consultation, including corporates as well, who are building on these technologies and how they classified information. We had public consultation with individual lawyers. We had public consultations with people who understood this better, people who have been working about this with think tanks. So if there is anything more that anybody has to add to it, or if you have any suggestions, we'll be more than happy to take note of it. And if it is possible, we will definitely include it in the draft. But as long as things are in line with what it is to be done legally, I'm sure that your campaign, during your campaign, you must have met a lot of legal minds who things might be different in UP, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, or etc. And maybe those ecosystems have we might have missed something. I'm not sure. I'm not saying that it is whatever we are bringing in the bill is hardwired or hard-coded. We are definitely more than happy to look at it if you can give it to us in writing. And the idea is to ensure that we come up with a solid bill or solid regulation that does not get stayed in court, like the IT Amendment Act, which got stayed in the Bombay High Court. So we are just not bringing in anything new. We're just connecting the dots, bringing everything under one umbrella.
Thank you. This is Aprameya Katti. So I'm a techno-legal professional. So my question to sir is how does this new law handle the jurisdictional issue? So I have a small scenario. So where any person who is using this technology can manipulate the IP address. So, and from sitting in US, he can manipulate your identity only, and he can spread the misinformation. And then, how can you handle those kind of situations? And what is the
No,
plan?
A point taken. I mean, see, it's very difficult to define boundaries here. But if it's going to affect my law and order issues here in Karnataka, I will have to take action. But like you said, I will need. That is why in our information disorder tracking unit, we have hired even technologists, tech companies also. So we have a couple of AI-based and machine learning companies who are very who understand what you spoke about masked IPs and everything very well. So we have our own mechanisms to figure out when would be the. There are certain times of year when these kind of messages, there's a spurt, right? Like December 6th is there. When there is festivals, it is there. Or whenever there is a current event that has happened, they keep a watch on these things. So where it is coming from, how it is coming, where are the origins. While we might not be able to really go and check on an Eastern European server, but at least the public platforms that will be carrying it can be blocked, number one. Number two, when the government itself is debunking a misinformation. So it's not that we are just saying that, okay, we have identified that this is a misinformation, it's causing harm. No, we are actually debunking it and stating it on a website and making it public through government mouthpieces, saying that, look, this is the misinformation that is flowing. These are the facts. So that the public is aware. And despite that, anybody spreads misinformation, they will have to be held accountable.
My name is Pratik Wakre. I'm a fellow with the Tech Policy Press and head of programs at Tech Global Institute. I want to quickly set some context before I get into my actual question. So a couple of years ago, and I'll be quick about this, a couple of years ago, Center for International Media Assistance, they analyzed about 100 anti-disinformation laws, quote unquote, across the world and concluded that many of them adversely impacted press freedom. And if I may extend that, by extension also then probably had an impact on the ability for people to express themselves freely. And they did this by imposing fines, prosecuting, imprisoning people, requiring content controls, government-directed corrections, takedowns, and all forms of administrative burdens. The German Institute for Global and Area Studies has a project called the Anti-Fake News Lawfare project, which had tracked 26 measures across South and Southeast Asia. And again, they found that the way fake news and disinformation were defined, they tend to target journalists, forcing them into protracted legal battles. And I think we probably have journalists in the room who are facing some of these battles, right? And so all of us who've been tracking this for years, right, have seen any attempt to define anti-disinformation laws which criminalize any form of information or disinformation, and you've already pointed out that you've tried to address that to some extent, but anything that we've seen around the world so far has resulted in criminalizing information as well, right? And it tends to be then used in a way that it's interpreted by whoever happens to be in power at the time. So my question for you is, and I think you did point out some of the things that you've done, and with due apologies, I think of all the things you listed, very few of them, if any, come across to me as things that cannot be abused, right? And so I guess my question is, what is the government of Karnataka doing that is different and that will help us avoid the same trajectory that we've seen play out across the world time and again? And we've seen this movie before, so what's different?
I get
here?
it. So I didn't want to get into the complete workings of the unit because it's very long, but I'll just explain it to you. So how you're asking me why won't I abuse it? Or why won't that be abused? Or
And it's not just you, it could be someone else tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. See, every law is like that, right? It depends on interpretation and more importantly, who's at the helm of affairs. My intent is clear. So, firstly, like I said, let us say you have floated a piece of information. So, the piece of information that you have floated on social media or any other media is going to be bucketed quickly, whether it is dis, mal, or fake news. All right? Now, if it is harmless, we just flag it and say, look, this is harmless. Now, who is telling me this is disinformation? We have a small committee which includes journalists, independent journalists as well. Like Editors Guild of India pointed out to me and said, like, Priyank, you can't do this. Exactly what you said. It's going to create a lot of problem for the editors. It's going to create a lot of problem for the journalists. I told, like, why don't you be a part of that panel? And you tell me that whether this information can be classified in whatever manner. So if it is harmless, we just say that it is harmless fake news and we leave it. And then let us say it is actually causing law and order issues. Then we have a legal team within the unit. They say the panel flags it, saying that this is serious in nature, and maybe you would want to have a look at it. So we have a legal team sitting there who tell us that, okay, this is indeed harmful, and these are the BNSS sections that it comes under. What is cognizable, what is non-cognizable, they put it up across and send it to the we will be having a cyber team with us from the Department of Home, who will be taking action where if it is depending on the seriousness of the crime, whether a notice should be issued or whether the case should be filed or whether they should be summoned. So nothing, no information will go without legal vetting, and without legal vetting there will be no police action. And government also will not be, like you said, will not be abusing. So we have all these stakeholders who will be working in sync in the shortest possible time frame to ensure that they debunk misinformation. So anybody who wants to be a part of this exercise is free to do so. But the idea is, even when we got in the people to analyze this information for us technically, we have, like I said, 2-3 AI based firms, 2-3 deep tech firms who are doing this. It was done transparently. It was not somebody came and recommended it to me. We floated a tender, we put out conditions, and then they came in. We had people from Indian Institute of Science to evaluate all these people. We had technocrats evaluating these people, and then we onboarded them. So everything is done transparently. So we are going to put it out online, right? Why we think this information is misinformation or disinformation, what are the rules it's violating, and what are the sections it comes under. So yes, it may be abused in future, I don't know, but my intention or the government's intention is to ensure that we have a better society. And tomorrow, like you said, it might be abused because we don't know how it's going to go, but there should be some regulation, right?
Hello, sir. My name is Lakshay, and I'm a law student at the National Law School of India University. So I have two short questions, sir. So you said that the deepfakes are on the top of our list for challenges for misinformation. So my first question is that the Union Ministry, IT Ministry, has just issued guidelines that says that a label should be put on AI content, synthetic content. But it does not tell us that how would such enforcement of such things would be there. Because you see, in this time, it is very easy to make fake social media accounts, and we have a lack of unique identification mark registration with the social media that help us track a being who has circulated this misinformation. So how do we tackle this problem? And secondly, what happens in a scenario where a person has spreaded misinformation, but before you say that it is a misinformation and list out the facts on your official website, another person, believing that the misinformation is true, spreads it even more. So will there be any criminal liability of a person who believes the misinformation to be true and spreads it more? Thank you, sir.
Well, that has happened. If you want the best answer to all this is make me the Union Minister for IT. That's the best, I'm telling you. But anyway, I was waiting for the AI guidelines coming from the central government. But now that is out, we are also, from the state, we are going to create a committee for responsible AI. So we will be covering all these topics over there. So we didn't want to do anything that will step on the toes of the IT Act, which comes under the central government. So now that the rules are out, we are evaluating that, and we will be setting up a small group to figure out how we can do that, and we will be working with public platforms also on all synthetic content. On your second question, that has happened. In fact, it's happened in Karnataka during there was this whole Waqf issue that happened in Karnataka, if you remember. So there was this a member of parliament who put up a fake, a completely falsified document or falsified narrative about a farmer committing suicide in Haveri. And that went viral. Over 700,000 views in less than some 3-4 hours. It became national headlines and everything. Then the SP and DC of Haveri debunked that information, saying that suicide was not because of the Waqf issue. It was already transferred to somebody else and things like that. It was a wrong survey number that you have put up and things like whatever. They basically fact checked that. And after the fact checking, he deleted it. But by then what had happened is his president had taken the same information and posted that. That got another 500,000 views. And it is still there as I speak. Hence, we need the regulation. So this itself shows that why we need this kind of a framework. So once, let us say, as a I am the one who is originated this entire thing. While it's off mine, he might have picked it up. So the idea is to ensure that we track the entire chain so that it is fact checked and whatever is the facts should be put out. So it's a difficult thing to do. Nobody has done it. And the government of Karnataka is trying its best to figure out the most transparent framework to ensure that this happens. Like I said, it is going to be a work in progress. I'm not saying from day one it will work like magic. It won't. There will be a lot of pushback. The social media platforms might have some other things up their sleeve, and you know how quick technology changes. So by the time my bill comes, the technology only might have changed. So we don't know. But the point is, we have to start somewhere, and I'm hopeful that this will be a game changer for at least regulating. Like I said, maybe instead of 100,000 people doing it, only a few thousand people might end up doing it. So at least it's controlled. It's in a sandbox where we can ensure that it does not create problems for the government or for the society.
Sorry, folks, we are out of time. So we will, if you have additional questions, please do send them to us and we'll forward to Sir's office. And hopefully we'll also hear from him. But thank you so much, sir, for engaging with all of our questions with so much curiosity and intent. We truly appreciate your time. But most of all, usually people say thank you and say thank you so much for your time. But I genuinely mean it when I say that thank you so much for spending all that time giving out the data to us to help us understand and unpack how exactly has the policy making going on in the country and in the state. So that's quite heartening to hear for all of us.
Thank you.